What if I told you that the words you never dared to say are the key to transforming how he sees you? Maybe you're tired of repeating the same mistakes, attracting the same disappointments over and over. In this video, you'll learn 6 forbidden phrases that will change everything in your relationship and awaken a completely new way of seeing you in him. And the secret to this is hidden in a teaching that few have had the courage to reveal. Comment the word power below if you're ready to be truly seen. Take a deep breath, because what you're about to discover can forever change the way he looks at you. Let's begin. Number 1, the power of words. More than what meets the ear. Have you ever paused to consider the true weight your words carry? Beyond their surface meaning, beyond mere sound, words are not simply vessels of communication. They are bridges to the unseen realms of the psyche, windows into the intricate dance between conscious and unconscious. Carl Jung, with his profound understanding of the human soul, taught us that language reaches far deeper than the spoken phrase. It penetrates the veiled layers of our inner world and stirs the hidden shadows within others. When you speak, you do more than share ideas. You summon forces, awaken spirits, and shape perceptions. Imagine for a moment that each word you utter is a key. Some keys fit gently into the lock, unlocking routine exchanges, the everyday dialogues that gloss over deeper truths. But some keys, the forbidden phrases, jangle violently against the lock, demanding attention, disrupting expectations, forcing a doorway to open that had long been sealed by habit and fear. What you say can either sustain the illusion of superficiality or tear it down entirely, revealing the raw and vibrant essence beneath. It is in this choice that your power lies. How often do you weigh your words with this consciousness? Or do you speak, as many do, simply to be heard, to fill silence, to maintain comfort? Jung reminds us that much of human interaction is a dance between masks, the persona we wear and the shadows we hide. The words you choose either uphold the mask or pierce it, challenging both you and the other to confront what lies beneath. Are you willing to wield language as a tool of transformation rather than mere expression? Consider the paradox of silence. Sometimes what is left unspoken resonates more profoundly than words themselves. Yet paradoxically, when you dare to speak what is forbidden, the truths that society cautions you to suppress, you break through barriers that silence has fortified. This act of courageous speech reverberates in the other's unconscious, calling forth responses not merely intellectual, but deeply emotional and instinctive. Think of words as ripples on a still lake. A casual word is a pebble dropped, causing gentle waves that quickly fade. A forbidden phrase is a boulder, thrown with force and intent, sending waves crashing against the shores of perception. These waves unsettle the settled mind, stirring thoughts, doubts, and awakenings. You do not control what surfaces next, but you create the conditions for genuine encounter, for a meeting of souls, not just a meeting of voices. Jung observed, words are living things. They have their own psyche. This means that what you say carries its own life and energy, shaping not only how you are seen, but how your relationship unfolds. The right phrase, spoken with awareness, can become a silent pact, an invitation to see beyond the obvious, to recognize the unspoken depths of your being. You are invited now to reflect deeply on this. Every phrase you utter is a brushstroke painting the image others hold of you. Will your brushstroke be cautious and bland, blending with the background? Or will it be bold and vivid, carving out contours that command attention and inspire change? In the realm of human connection, language is the first spark. It ignites emotions, builds bridges, and sometimes sets fires, cleansing or destructive, depending on the intent and the courage behind it. As you prepare to speak, remember, your words have power. Not the power to manipulate, but the power to reveal, to transform, and to awaken. The forbidden phrases you are about to discover are not just words. They are invitations. Invitations to be seen with new eyes, to break old patterns, to awaken what has long been dormant. Take this moment as a quiet call to embrace your voice fully, not as a timid echo, but as a resonant force, capable of shifting worlds within and without. The power is in your hands, or rather, on your tongue. Use it wisely. Use it boldly. Use it to change everything. Number 2, breaking the illusion of expectation. You have been taught to wear masks, carefully sculpted images of who you believe others want you to be. These masks are crafted from societal rules, cultural expectations, and the endless script of approval-seeking. It is tempting, even comforting, to stay behind the veil of these personas, to present a version of yourself that fits neatly into the world's predefined molds. Yet beneath this mask, a quieter truth waits, your authentic self, raw and unfiltered, longing to be seen. Carl Jung warned of the danger in clinging too tightly to the persona, that social facade which protects yet simultaneously imprisons. He described it as the great barrier to self-knowledge. When you say the forbidden phrases, you tear at this barrier, challenging both yourself and him to move beyond surface impressions. The effect is unsettling because it forces recognition of the unpolished, the imperfect, the complex. It is no longer enough to admire a reflection. The heart demands to meet the living presence behind it. Expectations are chains disguised as promises. Promises that if you conform, you will be accepted, loved, and safe. But the cost of such chains is the gradual erasure of the self. What remains when you become what others expect? You become a shadow of your own being. This is a quiet tragedy hidden beneath polite smiles and measured words. Jung's insight cuts deep here. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. To become who you truly are requires the courage to defy expectations, to break the script that limits genuine connection. You might resist this defiance because it feels like rebellion against order, against comfort. Yet what you resist persists, especially in relationships where true intimacy is starved by pretense. The forbidden phrases act like a mirror cracked open, reflecting a fractured image that demands healing. They confront you with the paradox that being truly seen is also being truly vulnerable, and that vulnerability is not a liability, but a form of strength. When you allow yourself to speak beyond the mask, you invite him to do the same. The dynamic shifts. What was once a shallow dance of pleasantries becomes a deeper dialogue of souls. This breaking of expectation shakes foundations, yes, but it also clears the ground for growth and transformation. It asks, can you both hold the discomfort of authenticity? Can you meet in a space where masks dissolve and real faces emerge? Jung's teachings remind us that every human being longs for wholeness. Yet wholeness cannot be attained through shadows and pretenses. It demands confronting the contradictions within, the light and the dark, the strength and the fear, the known and the hidden. Saying what society deems forbidden is a bold step into this terrain. It is a call to abandon the safety of illusion and embrace the uncertainty of truth. In this journey, you reclaim your voice as a creator of reality, not just a reactor to it. You stop playing the role assigned and start writing your own story. One where authenticity is the currency and true connection the reward. The illusion of expectation, once shattered, reveals a horizon of possibilities, of genuine recognition that goes beyond appearance and performance. You carry within you the power to break free from the invisible scripts that have bound you. With every forbidden phrase spoken, you loosen the chains, not just for yourself, but for the relationship you dare to deepen. This courage, to be unmasked and to welcome the other's unmasking, is the foundation of all meaningful transformation. The path is neither easy nor smooth, but it is the path to becoming truly known, truly accepted, and ultimately truly free. Number 3, forbidden phrase. The 1 and the number 2, revealing vulnerability and strength. In the delicate balance of human connection, the first forbidden phrase you will learn to speak carries a paradox that few embrace willingly. I don't have all the answers. In a world that prizes certainty and control, admitting uncertainty often feels like exposing a weakness, an opening for judgment or rejection. Yet within this admission lies a profound form of strength, the strength of vulnerability. When you dare to confess what you do not know, you invite a deeper level of authenticity that resonates far beyond superficial charm. This phrase fractures the illusion of perfection that social narratives impose upon you. It signals that you are not an untouchable ideal, but a living, evolving being navigating the complexities of existence. To acknowledge your limits is to open space for genuine dialogue, a space where he is invited to meet the real you, imperfect yet courageous. Jung spoke of the transformative power of embracing the unknown within ourselves. He believed that the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. This acceptance of your own not knowing becomes an act of radical self-respect, and it beckons respect from others as well. Closely following is the second forbidden phrase, equally powerful and unsettling. I demand respect, not love. In the terrain of relationships, love is often idealized as the ultimate prize, an emotional currency to be earned, granted, or lost. Yet love without respect is fragile, a castle built on shifting sand. When you assert your need for respect, you draw a clear boundary, reclaiming your dignity as a sovereign being. This phrase refuses dependency on affection that disregards boundaries or self-worth. It refuses to be diminished for the sake of approval. Jung's insight here is profound. Respect emerges from recognizing the other as autonomous and whole. To demand respect is not to reject love, but to insist that love must be grounded in honor and recognition. When you claim respect first, you teach him to see you as a complete subject, not as an object of desire or need. This shift transforms the dynamics of attraction from one of possession to one of reverence. You become not someone to be won, but someone to be met on equal footing. These two phrases, admitting uncertainty and demanding respect, work together to dismantle illusions that entangle connection in power struggles and insecurity. They embody a mature emotional stance, one that embraces imperfection while insisting on dignity. Speaking them aloud is an invitation to deepen, to move beyond roles scripted by fear and cultural expectation. It is in this tension between vulnerability and strength that true magnetism arises. When you expose the raw edges of your humanity, yet stand firmly in your worth, you become a force that cannot be ignored. The forbidden phrases unsettle the familiar patterns and invite a dance of genuine engagement. Reflect on the courage it takes to voice these words in a world that prizes certainty and pleasantry. Yet remember Jung's words. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. To speak these forbidden phrases is to bring consciousness to the shadows of expectation and control, illuminating them with the light of authenticity. In this act of truth, you do not diminish yourself, you enlarge your presence. You step out of the role of performer and become the author of your relational reality. The impact is profound. He begins to see you not just with different eyes, but with a new heart, a new mind, ready for connection that honors both your vulnerability and your strength. Number 4, deconstructing myths, the danger of pleasing. Too much you have been told, time and again, that harmony is achieved by smoothing edges, by saying yes when your heart hesitates, by keeping peace at any cost. The myth of the agreeable self is deeply entrenched in cultural stories, that to be loved, to be accepted, you must soften your voice, dim your light, and prioritize the comfort of others above your own. Yet beneath this seemingly noble ideal lies a hidden peril, the slow dissolution of your presence into the void of invisibility. Carl Jung's profound observations invite you to question this truth. He recognized that genuine connection demands the whole self, not a diluted version shaped by pleasing others. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases, he said. What this means is that when you suppress your true boundaries and desires to maintain superficial peace, you betray your own uniqueness and deny others the opportunity to know you fully. Pleasing too much is not generosity. It is self-erasure. Why do you continue to conform to this myth? Perhaps fear whispers that asserting your true needs risks rejection or conflict. But is it not more painful to live beneath the surface of your own being, constantly adjusting to fit expectations that drain your vitality? When you say, "No, this is not acceptable to me," you claim your rightful space in the world. This phrase, often forbidden in polite discourse, disrupts the safety of complacency and stirs the waters of real dialogue. The danger in endless pleasing is the slow creation of emotional bankruptcy, a state where your voice is muted and your presence unnoticed. You become a shadow performer, endlessly acting out roles scripted by others' desires, losing touch with your own core. Jung's insights highlight that the unconscious craves authenticity, depth, and challenge. It is not comfort that awakens growth, but the friction of honest encounter. When you embrace the courage to speak your truth, to set boundaries unapologetically, you invite respect, not just from others, but from yourself. This act of self-assertion is a powerful antidote to the myth that pleasing is the path to love and belonging. You begin to understand that true connection flourishes not in the absence of conflict, but in the presence of sincere exchange where differences are honored. Imagine relationships as living ecosystems. They cannot thrive if one part is stifled or erased. Each boundary you place is like a root planted firmly in the soil of selfhood, nourishing your growth and creating conditions for genuine interaction. Without these roots, connections become brittle, vulnerable to collapse under the weight of unspoken resentment or exhaustion. To deny yourself this essential act of self-respect is to invite a slow decay of meaning and passion. The forbidden phrase, "No, this is not acceptable to me," is not a weapon, but a shield, a declaration that you will not surrender your essence for fleeting approval. It is a necessary step toward emotional maturity and mutual recognition. Jung's wisdom guides you here. Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. Speaking your truth, even when it is difficult, bridges the gap that loneliness creates. It calls forth others to meet you in the full complexity of your being. In the quiet strength of saying no, you reclaim your voice, your space, and your life. The myths of endless pleasing dissolve under the light of your authenticity, and what remains is a clearer, more vibrant path to connection. One grounded not in illusion, but in the courageous reality of your true self. Number 5, forbidden phrase. Number 3 and number 4, awakening desire through mystery and challenge. In the delicate architecture of human attraction, mystery is a vital foundation often misunderstood or undervalued. When you utter the third forbidden phrase, "I choose when and how I share myself," you ignite an ancient dynamic woven into the unconscious fabric of connection. This declaration is not a mere statement of preference. It is a profound assertion of autonomy and rhythm, a refusal to be reduced to availability or predictability. It conjures the dance of revealing and concealing that animates desire at its deepest level. Carl Jung's exploration of the anima and animus illuminates this interplay between what is shown and what remains hidden, the yin and yang of attraction. He recognized that unconscious tension, that enigmatic pull between light and shadow, fuels passion and fascination. By controlling your own unveiling, you resist being wholly known too soon. This creates a space where intrigue flourishes, where desire is not a simple consumption, but a longing nourished by absence and anticipation. The fourth forbidden phrase builds upon this tension. "I do not need to explain myself to be worthy." In a culture steeped in justification and approval-seeking, this phrase stands as a bold refusal to surrender your sovereignty to others' demands for explanation or validation. To withhold explanations is not arrogance, but an embrace of self-trust, a confidence in your intrinsic value beyond the need to be constantly understood or accepted. This boundary invites respect rather than control. Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." When you embody these phrases, you may encounter resistance within yourself and from others. The urge to justify, to smooth over discomfort is powerful because it seeks to maintain harmony and avoid conflict. Yet, it is precisely in tolerating this irritation and standing firm that you uncover layers of personal strength and invite him to confront his own unconscious patterns. These phrases act as gates to a more mature form of desire, one that is not born from possession or dependency, but from a dynamic equilibrium of distance and intimacy, revelation and concealment. They challenge the myth that desire must be easy, immediate, and fully transparent. Instead, they reclaim the wisdom that desire, like all life's vital forces, thrives in tension and mystery. Consider how your own longing is often deepened by what is elusive or partially hidden. When everything is readily accessible, fascination fades. The forbidden phrases create a subtle but powerful magnetism. They invite him to engage actively in the dance, to pursue with curiosity and respect rather than entitlement. This shifts the relational dynamic from passive consumption to active co-creation. To speak these words is to claim your role not as an object to be dissected, but as a subject with boundaries and rhythms uniquely your own. It is a refusal to be reduced to mere explanation or compliance. Jung's wisdom reminds us that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. These phrases catalyze transformation. They provoke, invite, and awaken. In the embrace of mystery and challenge, you reclaim desire not as a fleeting emotion, but as an evolving force rooted in self-respect and conscious engagement. Your voice becomes not only heard but felt, resonating with the profound pulse of authentic connection and mutual recognition. Number 6. The shadow revealed, inviting transformation. There is a profound truth that most avoid confronting. Within every relationship, and within yourself, lies a shadow, an unseen, often unwelcome part of your being that contains fears, desires, and contradictions you may prefer to ignore. When you speak the forbidden phrases, you do more than communicate. You summon this shadow into the light. This act is unsettling because it forces you and him to face what is hidden, to acknowledge the discomfort and complexity beneath the surface of connection. Carl Jung's teachings insist that the shadow is not an enemy to be defeated but an essential part of the psyche to be integrated. He said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious, by voicing what is forbidden, truths, boundaries, vulnerabilities. You invite both yourself and him into a process of transformation that transcends superficial interaction. This revelation is the beginning of wholeness. In relationships, the shadow often manifests as projections, unconscious attributions of your own disowned traits onto the other. When these projections go unexamined, they create misunderstandings, resentment, and distance. The forbidden phrases act like a mirror that refuses to be ignored, reflecting back parts of the shadow both you and he carry. This reflection can provoke resistance or fear, yet it is necessary for growth. Without it, the connection remains confined to a limited and fragile illusion. Facing the shadow together is not a comfortable path, but it is the only path toward depth and authenticity. When you allow yourself to speak boldly and authentically, you challenge the habitual defenses that keep you both locked in repetitive patterns. This confrontation calls forth courage, the courage to hold your own complexity and to witness his without judgment. It dismantles the facades and opens the possibility for a new relational dynamic rooted in genuine understanding. This process requires emotional maturity and resilience. It demands that you embrace paradox, strength in vulnerability, clarity in confusion, intimacy in distance. Jung recognized that the greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown. Inviting the shadow into consciousness is a movement toward outgrowing old patterns and embracing a more expansive self. The forbidden phrases serve as initiatory steps in this journey. They pierce through denial and avoidance, illuminating hidden fears and unspoken truths. By voicing what others avoid, you create a space where transformation can occur, where the relationship becomes a crucible for healing and growth rather than mere comfort or convenience. This awakening of the shadow does not guarantee ease, but it guarantees authenticity. It transforms connection from a superficial exchange to a profound encounter with the totality of being. You do not merely want to be loved, you want to be known fully, including the darkness you carry. In this radical transparency, the forbidden phrases are not threats, but invitations, inviting both of you to transcend limitations, to embrace complexity, and to forge a connection that honors the whole human experience. Through this alchemy of shadow and light, transformation unfolds, and a new way of relating emerges, stronger and more real than before. Number 7. Forbidden phrase. Number 5 and number 6. Demanding authentic connection. In the landscape of relationships, there comes a moment when you must lay down an uncompromising marker, a boundary that separates shallow semblance from profound truth. The 5th forbidden phrase you will speak is this: "I will not settle for half-truths." These words are not a complaint but a declaration of intent, a call for sincerity that honors both your spirit and the bond you seek. It signals a refusal to engage in facades or diluted honesty, insisting instead on emotional clarity and depth. This phrase challenges the common tendency to hide behind polite evasions or selective disclosures, which often serve to protect fragile egos but ultimately erode trust. Jung recognized the essential role of truth in connection when he stated, "Truth never damages a cause that is just." Here, truth is not weaponized but elevated as the foundation for any meaningful encounter. When you refuse half-truths, you demand a relationship built on transparency, where both light and shadow can be acknowledged without fear or denial. Closely intertwined is the 6th forbidden phrase, "See me fully or do not see me at all." This bold proclamation carries the weight of self-respect and unwavering authenticity. It is a challenge to superficial perception, a demand to be recognized as a complete, complex individual rather than a mere collection of agreeable traits or convenient roles. To say this is to insist that partial understanding is a form of invisibility and that true connection arises only when the whole self is embraced, including contradictions and imperfections. Jung's insights on individuation, the process of becoming whole, resonate deeply with this stance. He reminded us that wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, but by integration of the contraries. By asserting these forbidden phrases, you invite him to witness your entirety, not only the parts that are easy or pleasing. This invitation requires courage, for it exposes you to rejection, but also opens the path to genuine intimacy. Speaking these phrases shifts the relational dynamic from one of negotiation or compromise to one of mutual recognition. It is an act of self-liberation that frees you from settling into roles that diminish your essence. You assert that your worth is not conditional upon selective acceptance, but rooted in the entirety of your being. This stance dismantles illusions and demands a connection that is both honest and transformative. In the tension created by this demand, emotional maturity is cultivated. It is not an ultimatum, but an invitation to depth, challenging both parties to embrace discomfort as a gateway to growth. Jung taught that there is no coming to consciousness without pain. These phrases embody this principle, acknowledging that awakening to true connection involves moving beyond comfort zones and facing the rawness of authentic encounter. Through this courageous articulation, you claim your voice as a creator of relational reality. You refuse to be seen in fragments, insisting instead on being encountered as a whole, living presence. This insistence disrupts patterns of superficiality and calls forth a new level of engagement, a dance of souls, meeting without masks, without half measures, in full human complexity. By embodying these forbidden phrases, you do more than set boundaries. You carve a path toward connection that honors truth, courage, and profound recognition. It is here, in this space of fearless authenticity, that transformation unfolds and the possibility of genuine union is born. Number 8. Reflection. The courage to be seen, the gift of seeing. You stand now at the threshold of a profound transformation, invited to embrace a truth that few dare to claim. The courage to be fully seen is a sacred act, and the gift of truly seeing another is a rare grace. The journey through these forbidden phrases has unraveled the layers of illusion, expectation, and fear, revealing a deeper terrain where authenticity and vulnerability reign. This is no mere exercise in communication. It is an initiation into a new way of relating, where sight becomes insight and presence becomes reverence. Carl Jung observed that the eyes are the window to the soul, reminding us that seeing is not a superficial act of observation, but a profound engagement with the essence of another. To speak with these forbidden phrases is to call forth this deeper vision, not just from him, but from yourself. You begin to understand that to be seen is not to be fixed or defined, but to be acknowledged in your dynamic, ever-changing reality. It demands shedding the masks and embracing the fluid complexity of your being. This courage to be seen dismantles the safety nets of anonymity and the comfort of half-truths. It challenges you to stand in your full light and shadow, knowing that this exposure may unsettle, provoke, or even alienate. Yet it is in this very vulnerability that true strength is born, a strength that does not come from control, but from the willingness to reveal your unvarnished self. You learn that being seen is less about securing approval and more about claiming your rightful space in the human tapestry. Equally, the gift of seeing others fully awakens empathy and presence. It calls you beyond judgment and projection, inviting a compassionate witness to the totality of their experience. Jung's wisdom echoes here. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Through this radical seeing, you engage not only with another's light, but with their shadows, their contradictions, and their struggles. This mutual acknowledgement becomes a mirror reflecting shared humanity. The forbidden phrases you have learned to voice are keys to unlocking this sacred exchange. They dissolve the barriers built from fear and expectation, replacing them with bridges forged by honesty and respect. They teach you that connection is not a possession to be acquired, but a dance of recognition and freedom. In this dance, you and he move beyond roles and scripts, into a space where genuine encounter thrives. Take this moment to hold these insights gently but firmly within you. Let the realization settle that your voice carries transformative power, not through force or manipulation, but through fearless authenticity. You are called to break patterns not for the sake of conflict, but to awaken to deeper truths that invite healing and growth. As you step forward, remember Jung's profound encouragement. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. To speak these forbidden phrases is to look inward courageously and to invite others to do the same. It is the awakening of self and relationship intertwined. In this awakening lies the promise of connection reimagined, rooted in honesty, tempered by respect, and illuminated by the full spectrum of your being. The courage to be seen is the first step. The gift of truly seeing is the reward. Together, they create a space where love and respect are not mere ideals, but living realities.